So it seems there are some lingering questions about Proposal 3. If it passes in just a few weeks, how will you legislate if portions of that proposal have to work their way through the courts?
Well, let me start with this. Proposal 3 is absolutely necessary to preserve the rights we've had for 49 years under Roe v. Wade. When the Supreme Court decided to upend it and overrule Roe, Michigan was poised to revert back to a 1931 law that makes abortion a felony. No exceptions for rape or incest, throwing doctors and nurses in jail. The only reason it's not in effect right now is because of my lawsuit. We have an opportunity to enshrine Roe into law by supporting ballot initiative 3. Now, the other side will say all sorts of wild-eyed things that are not true. Parental rights and consent will still be effective. We know that regulations will still be in effect. The simple truth is the way to protect women and ensure that future generations have the same rights we've had for 49 years is by adopting Proposal 3, and I will be a yes vote.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we're not being honest about what Proposal 3 is. The governor has just been dishonest with you in her very first answer. We know that Proposal 3 does remove parental consent. It also makes it so that you don't have to be a doctor to perform an abortion. But it does align with her agenda. Her past, she's voted against a ban on partial birth abortion. And Proposal 3 allows abortion up to the moment of birth for any reason, including sex selection. There will be no legislating around Proposal 3 because it will be language in the Constitution. So we can't put those protections that we've had in place back in place, that we've had in place for all of these years. So when Governor Whitmer tells you that this is going to be Roe, it's not even close to Roe. It's not codifying Roe in our Constitution. But it would be the most radical abortion law in the entire country. The only place that has something similar are China and North Korea.
Governor Whitmer, you have 30 seconds to rebut if you'd like to.
Absolutely. None of what she just said is true. And here's why you can't trust anything she's saying when it comes to reproductive rights. She's the one that said a 14-year-old child raped by her uncle is a perfect example of someone who should not have reproductive rights and the ability to choose. She went further to say it is healing for a person who's raped to carry that child to term. I couldn't disagree more, and she's proven you cannot trust her on this issue. You want to protect Roe v. Wade rights? Vote yes on 3.
Thank you, Governor. Mrs. Dixon, you have 30 seconds to rebut.
The people will decide what they want to do on abortion rights in the state of Michigan. Abortion rights will be decided by Proposal 3, or it will be decided by a judge. We already know that that's the case in the state of Michigan. The governor has the most radical opinion of abortion. She was asked twice in the last debate if she had any limits on abortion. She refused to answer because she has no limits on abortion. So when she calls me extreme, the truth is that there's no more extreme position than Governor Whitmer's on abortion.
All right.
Doug, your question to Ms. Dixon.
Let's stick with abortion. It's, of course, a very potent issue right now, and you'll appear on the ballot right next to it. Very simple question. We danced around it just a moment ago in both of your answers, but I want to know, in your case, Mrs. Dixon, if Proposal 3 passes or any of these court battles work out in the favor of the governor or any of these groups seeking to codify abortion rights in Michigan, will you accept that as the will of the people?
Absolutely. I've said that from the very beginning. There are no laws that I say I think that I'm more powerful than that. I know the governor has gone around laws before and in fact gone around the Constitution and doesn't believe that the governor is beholden to law or Constitution. But I do not feel that way. Absolutely. If this is what the people want, then I will enforce that.
And of course, conversely, if Proposal 3 fails, if any of these lawsuits don't work out in the favor of yourself or any of these groups seeking, again, to codify abortion rights, will you accept that as the will of the people, Governor?
I will always accept the will of the people. I think you're asking a really interesting question, though. When you say, will you accept the will of the people, I think that is a question that should be posed to Mrs. Dixon. She refuses to accept the outcome of the last election. She has not yet said she will accept the outcome of the next election. So when she says she will accept the will of the people, she is an election denier and does never, ever has said that Joe Biden actually won this last election. Now let's go back to abortion rights. First of all, this isn't about me. This is about all the women and girls in our state. This is about the ability to have bodily autonomy, be treated as a full American citizen. Mrs. Dixon will tell you here that she'll abide by whatever happens with regard to ballot initiative 3. Behind closed doors, she tells her radical special interest group she will do anything necessary to curtail abortion rights. The governor absolutely matters to this right. My lawsuit's the only reason it's not in effect right now. Will she sign laws abridging that right?
Thank you, Governor. Ms. Dixon, I'd like to give you your 30 seconds, of course, to rebut, but just one thing to throw in. You said you don't support criminalizing abortion. That's exactly what this 1931 law in the books does. So in your rebuttal, I would also like to know if you would make any changes to that.
I would like to comment on Gretchen Whitmer and her demeanor tonight, coming after me, calling me an election denier. We know that this is going to be the way the evening goes, but I'm wondering when she will say that she can't run with Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist anymore, because I would believe that he is also an election denier, since he came out in 2017 and asked for a recount. In fact, he said that the election system in Detroit was, I think the quote is, in complete chaos. So I'm wondering if she's going to say that she can no longer run with an election denier.
Thank you for that. 30 seconds to you, Governor.
That's silly. I'm going to stay focused on fighting to make sure that women in the state still have the ability to make our own decisions about our bodies and our futures. Let's be very clear. The right to have reproductive choice is important for women of all ages from all walks of life. We know that women who go through IVF have to sometimes have selective reduction to increase the odds that they take a baby to term. We know that women who have a partial miscarriage need an abortion. This will impact us all.
Thank you, Governor. Chuck.